Hey guys, last video we did an example for the linear layout, and if you look at the example, we kind of have this type of grid going on, right? And I want to say, well, you know what, rather than doing this type of, not really a hack, but this type of hack of creating a grid with just multiple linear layouts, we're going to actually use the grid layout, right? So this is Reza, and this segment is going to be about grid layout and how it works. So again, if we go back on the design, by the way, notice and congratulations, we did a segment without using this design GUI thing, right? If you want to be super high class, think of it as, hey, this is made for kids, and you guys went the pro version of it, right? Whatever. So what we want to do this time is to use this grid layout. Grid layout is really nice, and by the way, if I didn't mention this before, if you look at these icons, it kind of explains to you what these things are anyway. As the linear layout, if you notice horizontally, is kind of giving you columns, while the vertical is giving you rows, right? Relatives are basically saying it's kind of attached to something else. And now we're at the grid, we kind of see we could specify and manipulate it to do as we wish, right? So let's go and change what we created so far. Rather than saying linear layout here, we're going to say it's called a grid layout, right? And if you remember, what we created before was basically a grid. It was a 3x3 grid, or a 3x3, you would say, horizontal, vertical, and etc., right? Now inside the grid layout, we're going to kind of remove these three linear layouts we created, and we're just going to bring out the image buttons out of them. Okay, just give me a second. So let's open this. Why am I doing this? Well, because I want to tell you that we didn't need those linear layouts. What we actually needed was to understand them, right? At that point, we wanted just to understand what linear layouts meant. And sometimes you might be more comfortable in using one layout compared to the other, which is okay, to tell the truth. But you kind of want to make your life easier, because if you start building some different stuff, it makes your life harder, and you have to work harder on it, and so forth, so on, blah blah. It becomes a pain in the butt. So anyway, coming back to here. Anyway, just in short, I'm just saying using the correct tool makes your life easier, rather than using a complex tool and hacking it until it works. Now, I want to point out that this grid is kind of working not like what we wanted. It's actually working like the horizontal layout, and just made it a bunch of columns non-stop for the 9 buttons that we have, right? The 9 image buttons. By the way, let's go fix these variable names, because they're overlapping with other variable names. It's kind of giving you errors. In my case, I don't really care. That's why I'm just giving them random name. What we're trying to really achieve from here is to understand how to use layouts, right? So IDs don't matter. You guys want to really make a really good name, because eventually you come back to it and you're like, what did this mean? Anyway, coming back to here. Now, the problem with this is we're missing some stuff. We have this orientation thing, which we could take it off if you want. What really matters to a grid layout is actually the column count and the row count, right? So if we start typing column count, you kind of will see it here. So we're going to set that to how much? Well, it was a grid by 3x3, so the column is going to be 3. Hey, look, it's already placing itself. And just to make sure, we could also say, oops, let me just go back here. We could also say the row count is also 3, just to emphasize that what we're trying to build. And then from then on, you'll notice that every button that we place, they're going to go first by row, by row, and then it's going to go to the next row when it says it reached the maximum location, right? Isn't that cool? We kind of took out 2 extra parent or children, whatever you want to call it, fields to create the same thing. And this is what grid layout is, all right? So see you guys in the next video. Subscribe and give me comments or whatever you need, guys. Just let me know. Cheers.